Hello. Today I want to talk to you about an invisible source of power that I'm here today to talk to you about because I'm very concerned about it. And I want to walk you through why I'm concerned about it and what we can all do to fix it. So first, I want you to imagine walking into a control room. So a big room with 100 people, hunched over little desks, little buttons and dials, and they're pushing these little buttons. And when they do that in this control room, it'll shape the thoughts and feelings and beliefs and cultural values that will show up in 2 billion people's minds today. This might sound like it's from a sci-fi movie, but this is actually how the world works right now. Because in Silicon Valley, where I'm from, we are basically the control room for steering what 2 billion people think every day. And I know because I used to be in one of those control rooms. I was a design ethicist at Google, which meant I was studying how do you steer what 2 billion people are going to think? How do you ethically manipulate or persuade or guide human thinking and action? Because every time we look at our phone and you see a message from your mother saying something that is alarming, you don't choose what happens after that. Your mind is now set on a timeline of thoughts that maybe you didn't intend to have. Or if you look at a news feed and you swipe through it, now you're thinking thoughts that someone at Facebook chose for you to have. So when you talk about ethics in Silicon Valley, you're probably thinking about, the self-driving car, and which way should the car swerve in this situation or that situation, a trolley problem. But I was thinking about a different trolley problem of how do you steer people's thoughts. And I learned to think this way as a magician as a kid. And I know you guys just saw the magic show here earlier. Magic is a discipline that teaches you to see the world inside out. Instead of seeing the foreground of a painting or a sculpture, it makes you look at the background forces, the invisible construct upon which all those foreground things happened. So instead of looking at wealth and prosperity, you look at the background context of a society. Instead of looking at the choices people make, I look at the menu that was designed before they chose. And never before in history has the background force of what 2 billion people are thinking every day, which is the canvas upon which all other thoughts and then the actions and choices we take occur, been shaped by a handful of people at technology companies. And there's a temptation to think that technology could go in any direction, right? There's so many different exciting new technologies, augmented reality, virtual reality, education applications. And what this misses is that there's actually a hidden goal driving what all the existing technology companies do and future ones do. So I can tell you exactly where this is going. It's important to realize that 2 billion people use Facebook every day. That's more than the number of followers of Christianity, arguably with more influence over people's daily thoughts. 1.5 billion people use YouTube every day. That's more than the number of followers of Islam. Also, a lot of influence over people's thoughts. And these companies are not just offering you a product that's just a neutral tool. We often talk about it as, oh, these are just neutral tools. But what I'm here to tell you today is that there is a hidden goal that all these products have, which they are beholden to, which is the race to capture human attention. The game is how much attention can I extract from your mind? Because of the advertising business model, more money directly is tied to more attention. And we know exactly the ways to do that. As a magician, you're taught these are the techniques to basically pull on people's attention. So let me give you a simple example. Let's say YouTube has 30 minutes of people's day right now, right? And you work at YouTube, and you want to increase the amount of time people spend. So you add this feature called autoplay. So when the video ends, it autoplays the next video, right? And let's say now people spend 32 minutes on YouTube every day. Well, that didn't come from nowhere. That just shrunk the market share of, say, Netflix. So Netflix says, well, hold on, if they do that, then I have to autoplay the next video on Netflix, the next episode. But then Facebook's sitting there and saying, well, if they're doing that, that's shrinking all of our market share, so we have to autoplay all of the videos in the newsfeed. So the internet is not evolving at random, and it's not going to go the other way. We know exactly which direction it's going, and it's because of this race to the bottom of the brainstem to capture human attention. Because it's not enough that I offer you the product. If I have 30 minutes of your day, I have to crawl deeper down the brainstem and hook you to the product. So I need to implant an unconscious habit, that twitch, that feeling that I have to check into you so that you want to use it. And one company that did just that was Snapchat. How many of you here use Snapchat? Okay, a lot of people. So in the world, Snapchat's the #1 way for teenagers now to communicate. So if you're a little bit older, maybe like me, you use WhatsApp or text messaging as your primary way to communicate. Just imagine that that's what Snapchat is for teenagers. They live in Snapchat. And Snapchat added a feature called Streaks, which next to every single contact in your contacts list shows the number of days in a row that two kids have communicated with each other. Number of days in a row. So they just invented something that two kids don't want to lose. In other words, what they just did is they took two kids, they tied a string together on a treadmill, on two treadmills, and they hit start. And now they both have to keep running and pass the message back and forth every single day. And if they don't, they'll lose their streak. Now, this might sound really innocuous, but these kids give up their password to 5 other friends when they go on vacation just to keep their streaks going when they're not using it. And actually, even among adults in LA, I've heard from the people at Snapchat that it's one of the top support requests from adult celebrities to say, hey, can you give me my streaks back? So what are we doing to people? These companies also can't retract some of these features because this is how they make money, right? The stock price is tied to directly how much attention we can get. And so we have to go continually lower and lower on the brainstem to get it. And so Facebook is also in the same situation. Because as the attention supply gets shorter, shrinks shorter and shorter and shorter, they have to do more and more aggressive things to get you to come back. Have you ever tried not using Facebook for a week and then noticed that they start sending you many, many more emails? Right? The reason they do that is they're trying to lure you to come back. But what it means is that they're not neutral products. There's certain things they have to do to be successful. So one example is polarization. You've probably heard how the world is getting more and more polarized, that people are disagreeing with each other. We live inside of filter bubbles or echo chambers. And we think that that's just happening. What people miss about that is that filter bubbles and polarization are profitable. Because if I'm Facebook and I can show you one news feed that this is the common reality that we all share, that's going to be less successful at engaging your attention than if I show you another news feed that's catered just specifically to what works on your mind. So polarization and shredding the shared notion of truth is actually part of the business model of these companies, which is why this problem is so alarming to me. We tend to talk about this future scenario. I'm not sure if people have talked about it here yet. That what if in the future we built a runaway AI that we gave a goal, like maximize the number of paper clips in the world? And what if that artificial intelligence ran off and it turned the world inside out to just make the most number of paper clips, terraformed all of reality? And there's this whole field called AI safety to prevent that from happening. And we worry about that happening in the future. But what I'm here to tell you is that we've actually already created a runaway AI. And we hid it from society by simply using a magic trick of calling it a different name, and no one even noticed. And it's called the Facebook news feed, which was given the goal of running away to capture as much individual human attention as possible. YouTube, running away to basically show whatever will capture your attention. Tinder, which is running away to show you the most seductive person that you might want to consider being with. Each of these systems are AI. So oftentimes we say, well, we always worry about new technology. We always worry about manipulation or media and radio and television and newspapers, and oh my God, like the world's going to come to an end because of these things, right? And I want to tell you why this time it's different. And one of the main reasons it's different is that none of those things, TV or radio, had an artificial intelligence, like a supercomputer, which had literally billions of dollars and the best statisticians that could play chess against your mind and figure out 100 or 1,000,000 steps ahead of your mind what will capture your attention. So remember what happens when AI plays chess? So first, when the AI is playing chess, it kind of makes these funny-looking moves. Then it makes some smart-looking moves. It's like this kind of fun to play with the AI. And then once it beats Garry Kasparov, the world chess champion, it's beaten all of humanity at chess. From that point onward, it's better than all of humanity at chess. The reason I'm so concerned about this problem is that we've actually already created a runaway AI, and instead of pointing it at problems that we want to solve out there in the world, because of the advertising business model, we've actually pointed it at ourselves. We pointed it at this, the instrument that you're looking at me through right now. And it's seeing many more steps ahead than your mind can see. So what is this really about? This is a conversation about aligning incentives. It's about a conversation about how human beings really work. You know, I'm also a psychologist. I've studied a decade of what persuades and manipulates the human being. I actually studied at a lab called the Persuasive Technology Lab that teaches young engineering students how do you pull on the evolutionary strings. And this is really a conversation about what we are and how we're calibrated, that we are drawn to certain things when we're put our attention there. When you wake up in the morning, if I show you a feed full of evidence of how your friends are having fun without you, that will pull on any human being because we're built to care about our belonging and missing out. When you wake up in the morning, you turn your phone over and I show you photos of all of your ex-romantic partners having more fun without you, that will pull on all of us, that no one is immune from that. This is how we work. So part of this is a conversation about how human beings really work. What are we vulnerable to? How can we be manipulated and steered? And that's not something bad or shameful. It's just the honest reality of the mind and meat suit body that millions of years of evolution tuned us to be inside of. And what we now need to do is have an honest conversation about changing our entire digital environment to protect this instrument. So instead of having an extractive attention economy, where the aim is to extract as much attention out of human minds as possible, and then the stock price needs to go up more, so we have to extract it out of children now, right? We need to actually say, let's take the AI from being on the opposite side of the table, built to extract attention from us, and actually bring the AI on the same side of the table and look out at what problems we want to solve. And recognize that there might be parts of us in our minds and our lives that we want to protect. The CEO of Netflix said that their biggest competitor, besides Facebook, for attention, is sleep. So what if instead of having a world where the race was to terraform more and more of human attention and dishonor and disrespect the boundaries of being human and our needs and our family and our relationships and our sleep, we actually had a digital environment that was built to protect our humanity, that was built to protect a shared sense of truth that we need for democracy to work, that was built to protect and honor the relationships that we really want to have in our lives, as opposed to giving Wild West access to manipulate this instrument. Now, I've been involved recently. There was the November 1st hearings in Congress in the United States recently where Google, Twitter, and Facebook were called up before the United States Congress to testify about their role in enabling Russian propaganda in the last election. And one of the things that was revealed is just how these platforms were used to manipulate entire societies. You can manipulate an entire election from inside of that control room. And you don't even have to be inside the control room. You just have to pay the guy at the front door, and you can walk in and say, this group right over here, that zip code, that ethnicity, that religious group, I want to push these thoughts into their mind. And that's exactly what happened. In fact, Russia actually created events where they took pro-Muslim groups and anti-Muslim groups, and they created fake Facebook events to occur at the same place at the same time to bring people there together. And people actually went. So what we really have to talk about is that we've unleashed this massive AI that's steering what 2 billion people are thinking every day, and its goals are not aligned with our goals. And what I'm here to ask you is to say, we all together need to demand that the AI is on the same side of the table as us. And instead of being on the opposite side, trying to extract as much attention from us as possible and our children and our democracy and everything else that we care about, we need to basically define what our values really are and have AIs that are built to support and defend everything that we care about. So, thank you.